Alright, so this is area and perimeter day 2. And our question is, how do I find the area of composite shapes? Now remember that composite shapes means that they are shapes made out of recognizable shapes from the ones that we looked at in our last lesson. So we start with example 1 and we break into the shapes that we recognize. So there's a rectangle, and so I have rectangle 1 and triangle 1. So rectangle 1 is where the area equals base times the height, which is 12 times 12. Here are the two lengths for the rectangle. It's actually a square, and so I get 144. And then to find the triangle, this is the perpendicular height. Remember, I need this perpendicular height. Well, if this side is 17 and this side is 12, that means from here to the top of the triangle must be 5. So that's the height of my triangle. So for triangle 1, area is half the base times the height, which is half of the base, which is 12, times the height, which is 5, so that's 30. So then the total area is 144 plus 30, which is 174 square yards. Because we have yards as our units and we have to have square. So now let's look at the second question. Again, we break it into recognizable shapes. So we have a rectangle and a triangle. So rectangle 1, triangle 1. The rectangle is area equals base times height. The base is 6 and the height is 14, which is 84. The triangle area is half of base times height, so that's half. Now the base is 10. Do you see how this has to be the length of 10? So the base is 10 and the height is 8 inches. So half of 10 times 8 is 40. So then we get that our total area is 84 plus, why can't I erase that? Plus 40 equals 124 inches, because that's our unit, and it has to be squared. Now, what shapes do we have here? Well, it's really easy. You can see the rectangle on the outside. But what is this shape on the inside? That's a kite. It's a quadrilateral. It's got 4 sides, but none of them are parallel. And so I have to be able to find, remember we were looking for the length, which is this long piece here, and the width or height, which is this piece here. So those are the formulas from yesterday or the previous lesson. So we have a rectangle that we have to find. So that area is base times height, which is 9 times 4, which is 36. And then we have the kite, and that formula for area is half the length times the height, which is half of 9 times 4, which is 18. But now I want you to think about it. All we're asked to find is this shaded area. So am I going to add or subtract? I'm of course the answer is to subtract. So the total area is 36 minus 18, which gives us 18 centimeters squared. So make sure that as you're answering these, we added questions 1 and 2 because there were 2 pieces, and we subtracted for question 3 because of how the figure is shaded. Now comes our favoriteest part, word problems. So first we need to draw the shape. A trapezium, that's a fancy word for trapezoid. So it might not look exactly like this, but we're just going to draw a trapezoid that looks like this, knowing that I need the height. And it has an area of 36 centimeters. The 2 parallel sides, that's this one and this one, are 3 and 6, and I need to find the distance between those 2 sides. So, this is a trapezoid. So a trapezoid area is half of base 1 plus base 2. Sorry, let's write that with the formula I gave you yesterday. Half of a plus b times height. So what do I have? I know the area, that's 36. Half doesn't change. I know a and b, that's 3 plus 6. What I don't know is the height. So we're going to put that as the x. So 36 equals half of 9. So that's 4.5x. And when we divide 36 divided by 4.5, x equals 8. X is 8. So what does that mean though? That number is the height, or the distance between the parallel sides. So make sure as you answer these that you understand what you are solving for. Okay, let's do it again. A trapezium has 2 parallel sides of lengths x and 3x plus 2. So now we're taking this up a notch because now we're going to add some algebra in there. The distance between the parallel sides is 6 centimeters and the area is 108. Find the value of x. So draw your trapezium, and it says that the 2 parallel sides, one is x and one is 3x plus 2. It says the distance between them, this is the height, is 6 centimeters, and the area is 108. So area equals half of a plus b times h. Our area is 108, is half of x plus 3x plus 2 times 6. So 108 is half of 4x plus 2 times 6. Half of 4 is 2x. Half of 2 is 1 times 6 equals 108. 108 equals 12x plus 6. We minus 6 from both sides. 102 That's 102 equals 12x, x equals 8.5. Now, that's side A, because that's how we wrote it here. So again, make sure you understand what you just solved for. So if I ask you to find solve B, you could come over here and put 3 times 8.5 plus 2, or whatever you need to do. But you have to be able to solve for the part that you're asked for. All right, now we have a kite of area 40 meters that has one diagonal 2 meters longer than the other. So it's a kite. This side is x plus 2, and this side is x. So the area is half the length times the height. So half of x plus 2 times x, and the area, of course, is 40. So we multiply both sides by 2 over 1 to get 80 equals x squared plus 2x when we distribute. That means that 0 equals x squared plus 2x minus 80, because this is a quadratic. Anytime that you end up with an x squared, this is a quadratic. And we have to use the quadratic formula. Then we have to use this formula, which x equals, and we did this in class, don't forget, minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So that means that from this formula, a is 1, b is 2, and c is negative 80. And that comes from the coefficients that are right here. So then, when we substitute it in, negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 2 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 80 all over 2 times 1. That's what a is. When we do the plus, when we solve this, we get two answers. X equals eight and negative 10. But I can't have, this one's wrong because I can't have negative distance. So that means that when we come back up here, we have to use x equals 8. That means that length is x, and do it again. Length is 10, and the height is 8. So those are the lengths of the diagonals. The last one won't be near that ugly, I promise. The trapezium has an area of 22 square centimeters with a height of 4 centimeters. One parallel side is 7. What is the length of the other side? So we have our trapezoid. And the height is 4. One side is 7, and the other side is, I don't know. So we're going to use area is half of a plus b times the height. Our area was 22, which is half of x plus 7 times 4. I'm going to multiply the half and the 4 so that I get 22 equals half of 4 is 2 times x plus 7. 22 equals 2x plus 14. 8 equals 2x. X is 4 centimeters. And that is the length of the other side. So that's what we just found. All right. So today on your problem set, you will be looking for some algebra. So the same thing as the lesson before this, but there will be some algebra and some substitution that will be required. If you have any questions, Google Meets on Wednesdays and Fridays, and email any other time.